Greetings, cinephiles. I'm Sue Wright.
And I'm Ozzy Pops.
And welcome to the Wild Rivers Film Radio, the official podcast of the Wild Rivers Film Festival here on KCIW 100.7 FM.
Today we're sitting down with Eric Eisenstein, who is the director of one of the films we're showing at this year's film festival, Blueberries. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Welcome, Eric.
You traveled all the way here from Philadelphia.
I did. It's funny. I submitted Blueberries to Dan's festival in Orlando last year, and he was good enough to accept it. I made plans on going, and I had emergency eye surgery. I had a detached retina, which means no flying for 8 weeks. So I couldn't go, and he emailed me a month or so ago, 2 months ago, and said, I have this other thing in Oregon, and we liked your movie. Would you like to enter it and come? And I said, yeah, I've never been to the south coast of Oregon. I've been around the world, and this was a bucket list place. So planned a vacation around it, and it turned out to be a great decision. This is wonderful. It's a wonderful community, wonderful arts community. The people have been great. The weather's great. Yeah, I'm just really happy I came.
I'm glad you got to check that thing on your list of places I've got to go.
Yeah, and all the weed stores are just a bonus.
Yeah, we really lucked out with we really lucked out with the weather. It only rained overnight.
Yeah, right.
Got sunny again today.
Yeah, so it's all good here in Brookings.
Well, good. I had the pleasure of seeing your film this morning. It was a film about alcoholism and recovery, and our responses to that. It's a life story lots of people go through.
Yeah, well, you know what they tell you, and it's come up here on several occasions at the seminars. You write what you know about.
Yes.
And a year and a half ago, I decided to quit drinking, and it was a journey, and I decided to chronicle part of that journey. It's based on it. The idea was Blueberries was originally made for a 40-day film festival. And for those of you who don't know how a 40-day film festival works, they email you on day one and say, this is the theme, or there's certain elements we want to see in the movie. It could be lighting. It could be camera. They want to see a lot of movement, or they want to see static shots. But this particular film festival was for 40 days, and the email came. And what was needed on this particular film was it had to be based on a true story. It could be historical. It didn't have to be you, but it had to be based on a true story. So I was about a month out of rehab, and I was finding, and it might have been in my own head, or it might have been real, but I was perceiving that people like me better. There were some people who liked me better as a drunk.
I can see. I think that's not an uncommon thing.
And that was the genesis of the story. Mm-hmm. From there, I decided, it's my story, but I'm 68 years old. I quit drinking. I'm still sitting on the couch by myself and watching baseball every night, but I'm doing it sober. But I wanted to give the story a little more ramifications. I mean, so fine. I'm sitting by myself. So I talked to Josh, who wrote the screenplay. We worked on the story together. Josh James, who also acts in it, and he's wonderful. And I said, I want to move the story. I want to give the story to a couple, or I want the story to have ramifications. So the ramifications for Josh, who goes to rehab in the movie, is that if he doesn't get his shit together, his fiance's leaving him. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the genesis of it. And then really what it's about is finding your middle. When you do something like quitting and making a life change like that, sometimes you slingshot. You go, like I came home from rehab, I had affirmations all over the house, over the toilet. So first thing I say in the morning is life is good, all that, and all good stuff, don't get me wrong. And I applaud people that do it. But I went to a little bit of an extreme. Mm-hmm. And the film is about finding your middle, finding what will work for you so you can go on. And that's what we did. And that's basically the genesis of the story and what it's about. It's about being able to handle change and finding your place in that change. It's going to make it work for you. And I guess the people around you, if you care about what people think. I didn't think I did. I didn't give a shit, but you do. Mm-hmm. You do. So
I think we all do.
well, I think we all do too.
What a cool way to channel some of that energy you have when you're fresh out of rehab and you're in transition and all that, and you had an artistic outlet to put it toward.
Yeah, because otherwise the alternative was chocolate. That's what they give you.
There you go.
They give you a lot of sugar and a lot of chocolate.
Lots of coffee.
I said, if I quit drinking, I'm losing weight. I'm not eating chocolate and gaining weight, so I got to find something else to do. And it's been a great outlet. It's been very therapeutic, and hopefully it resonates with people.
I do think that we need those kind of stories out there to give voice to that process, but also to give hope to others who aren't there yet or who have tried and failed.
And I think, and you're allowed to fail. You're allowed to fail. I've been lucky. I've gone. I maybe because I was so bad. Once I saw that I could do it, I said I'm not doing it anymore. And honestly, as a retiree, it's like another pension. The money I was spending on booze, and I say that half jokingly.
Yeah,
that it was like getting another. The money I was spending on booze, I would say roughly I'm saving about $900 a month with all the drinking and eating in bars and all that. And
you used one of the words that it worked for me. Like I saw that you were trying to tell a balanced story in it, and from my own life experiences, you made me laugh a few times.
Well, thanks, because you got to have humor. It's a serious story, but you got to laugh too, because it can't be all serious. You gotta be able to laugh at these things a little bit and find humor, and I think that was the goal. We wanted to make it a little bit of a crazy situation, and we had not crazy, but an interesting situation, which I think we did. And when it was time to approach the subject seriously, we made that shift into the more serious ramifications and things like that. But we had fun in the beginning. It's fun, and I think we talked about. I was talking about this earlier. What I enjoy doing is, and you've seen it. You've seen the film. And I've done it in every film I've made, and I love doing it. We basically told you what the movie's about in that first shot with him talking. We said, this guy's got problems. You see it from the first shot. This guy's got problems. He's a loudmouth, and he needs to change. His words don't even... until he holds up that cask and says, but drinking is good for you, or whatever the line is, it doesn't matter what he said, but it was all BS. You're just learning this guy. So we've told you in the very first shot what this movie's about, which I love doing. And you just see that this movie's probably going to be about this guy changing. We pretty much foreshadowed the whole movie in the whole first minute. So it was a lot of fun. It was a perfect storm of a great crew. Small budget. We shot it in 3.5 days, but just fun people. And that's a recommendation I make for people. You got to work with people you like. Don't hire your friends.
We talked about it
because we talked about that in the seminar. Don't hire your friends. Well, you can become friends eventually, but hire good people.
I like what you mentioned earlier today when I was talking with you about when you shot it in 3.5 days, how you were mostly in just one house.
Yeah, and we did.
And you did it in succession?
Like we talked about in the seminar. We literally started at the back of the house in the kitchen, Philadelphia row house, moved to the living room, shot the scenes there, and moved outside to the very cold weather. It was coldish. It was like 20 degrees that day when we were shooting the scenes outside on the car. And the funny thing is, you never know. When I talked about this earlier a little bit too, a lot of nothing wrong with appreciating a little luck. You can't plan everything, and sometimes luck comes into play. There's a very critical scene in this movie that takes place on a little bridge in Philadelphia. And I know Philly pretty well. I drove all over the city looking for a place to shoot this scene. the house we were in, we're shooting, and just to take a break, and I know when I need to walk away, so I'd take a walk down the block towards the river. A block from where we were shooting the movie is the most perfect. It was literally perfect. I said, "This is it. Cancel the scene. Cancel tomorrow where we're going. Leave. We can leave everything here. We're just going right down the street tomorrow." So you never know. It was great, and we lucked into a couple things.
You do need some luck.
You do need luck. But luck is also the residue of design. So if you do your pre-pro and you luck into some good things. I told this story to somebody today. The very first film I made was called Reset. It was a 10-minute film, and it was also dealt with alcoholism, but I shot it, it'll be 3 years ago, 3 years in October. I was drinking heavily, never drank on the set, but as soon as we were done, and I didn't consider myself an alcoholic at the time we made the movie. But we made it like a Twilight Zone thing where he was literally fighting the bottle. He would throw the bottle away, come upstairs, and there's the bottle again. So, and I shot that sequence in black and white. And people said, "Why'd you do that? Is it good?" And that might have been a mistake because people took that as a dream, but really it wasn't. It was real time, but it was sci-fi. And it was simply, people said, "Why'd you do black and white?" I said, it was an homage to the Twilight Zone that I grew up watching. It was an homage to the Twilight Zone, to Outer Limits, shows I grew up watching because it was a similar story. And but the reason I even bring that up is there was a critical shot, one of the most critical shots of the film. And I had it set up so he's in the kitchen on the floor. He's reached his lowest point. So we're showing that he's on the floor throwing up. And the camera was supposed to be up against this railing, so we see the rails, his entrapment, all that stuff. But I'm going to stand for 1 second. I had him kind of standing and getting the shot. While we're setting lights and all that stuff, the camera's sitting on the ground next to the railing. I said, "Oh." I bend down, I look into the lens. I said, "Nobody touch this camera."
That's the shot we need.
This is the shot, and it was the most powerful shot of the movie. So again, you luck into things, but because you design things and you prepare,
you know what you need.
You're in the ballpark. It gets you in the ballpark, and that's why I tell people preparation can be the biggest pain in the ass, but it pays off dividends. It saves you money. It saves you time. It's to be prepared. There's a reason movies take so long to make, and pre-pro and things like that.
And editing takes forever and costs you a fortune. So the more you spend on that pre-production, the less you have to spend on the back end editing.
Because you don't know. We had a situation with Blueberries. I actually spent more on sound design than I spent for the rest of the movie. And the reason was the movie's very dialogue heavy. And we had one scene on the street where he's going into rehab and she's sending him off and he doesn't want to go. And we shot it on the streets of Philadelphia.
And you've got all the traffic noise, right?
We were supposed to shoot it on President's Day, which is like a Sunday. And I actually went on another holiday to scout the area, see how much traffic it was, whatever the Monday holiday was before that. And I said, "This is good. This will work. It might slow us down a little bit, but not too much." Well, one of our actors couldn't make it that day, and we had to move it to another regular weekday with the cars. And it wasn't a busy street, but it was busy enough that just cars are whizzing by.
It doesn't take much.
It doesn't take much. And now your best take, it might be ruined. And so I had to take it. I took it to a sound design place in Philadelphia. And this guy does M. Night Shyamalan's movies and all that. It costs some money. But you know what? Like we were saying the other day, if you can't hear it, the sounds, then what's the point? Yes, yes, you love pretty pictures and all that. And I'm a picture person. I like making nice pictures in film. You'll never see a lot of camera work. I believe set the shot, let the action take place within the frame as much as you can. Obviously, you can't all the time. But Yeah. So
I like the mashup of the two because I tend to be a dialogue person to a large extent, and hanging around the film festival, I've gotten a much more deeper appreciation for the picture side of it.
yeah, and watch it. And editing conversations can be so rewarding. It's especially the last scene in Blueberries could have been edited 100 different ways, but I'm a fan of being on the reaction of the people. Yes, in theory, TV, film 101, the camera should be on the person talking, but that's not always the case. You want to see the reaction of the person being spoken to. And then go back to the person speaking for their reaction when the person responds. Mm-hmm. And I think it's totally an artistic decision by the editor and yourself, depending how much you're involved with the editor.
And it doesn't matter what level you're shooting when you get that. We did that. We did a exercise with the kids in our workshop this summer, just two kids sitting there talking, one irritating the other. Mm-hmm. And just to get their reactions, it actually became, we picked it up, throw a chair through the window.
It's an Oregon classic already.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
But it just came out of this exercise of helping the kids understand how to shoot dialogue from different angles and then editing it together.
Well, now you have as if you're shooting digitally, which most people do now, nobody's using film, you have to save time with editing, especially on a smaller budget film. What I've done is you shoot it wider, but you can always digitally tighten the shot. So that's something you never did before, you were able to do before. That you can still get a quality shot by tightening it digitally. So you shoot a little wider, it might not be the perfect framing, but you can adjust framing and you have a whole bunch of options doing it that way. So that's very time saving. Just shoot it wide. It might not look weird to you. It might look weird to you, but frame it and check the tight shot that you have enough headroom. You can check it. So if the shot's still framed nicely, then do it that way. Save time.
And I don't know if you've seen the Small Town Nutcracker story that we just screened. It's the last time.
I'm way behind on stuff I got to see.
But that's what happened. Our cinematographer framed everything fairly, because it's a dance movie, which are really hard to do. And then the editor digitally comes in close on lots of things, including the gowns that the dancers are wearing.
Yeah.
And really made some magic in the editing with that process.
It helps editing, and it moves your day along, especially on a small budget. Just shoot it this way. Mm-hmm. We don't have, back in the day, you did another take. You moved the camera in, you did another take. You moved the camera a little closer, you did another take. Now, then, so it's less stress.
And we were shooting with kids, with student dancers during COVID, so it was... Yes.
Yeah, but...
If you don't mind, change directions a little bit. You mentioned that Josh James was the one who put the story together for Blueberries. And he's also the one who's the lead. He's the lead, and Josh he did such a phenomenal job.
Isn't he fantastic?
Yeah, I liked his performance from beginning to end.
Yeah, and acting wise, I gave him very little notes. The notes I gave him were, because he was the writer, so I was able to make suggestions to him. But he's won a couple acting awards for this film.
Cool.
And he wrote it, and I came to him with the story. If I wanted to take a writing credit, I could have, but Josh did such a fine job with what he did. But because he was in it, and because he was a writer, and because I had no problem going to him with changes. I don't know if I even talked about this morning, but the intervention scene in the movie, for instance, we have this intervention.
Oh yeah, someone asked what your favorite scene was.
Yeah, we have this intervention scene, and I'm sitting. We finished rehearsal, ready to shoot, and I'm thinking, why is there only 4 people? Why did we play an intervention scene with 4 people? So I said, Josh, come here, and I called him over. I said, don't say anything to anybody. I said, when you get up to go, because he gets up to leave because he's had it with everybody. I said, mention what a shitty intervention this is. They said, And he wrote, and so he did it on the first take, and they're trying to bite their lip. The other people, Liz is the co-lead, starts laughing. So we redid it. But again, it was a fun thing to do on set that we could change it. It really was a great. He threw out a great line. He gets up and he goes. He starts. So he goes, "Is this the best you could do?" By the way, and it was great. He wrote it beautifully, and it changed the tone of the rest of the scene. So it worked out great. And again, it's so much fun. And on a film of that size, where there's no stress, there's not people overlooking your shoulder. If you want to make a change, and everybody says it's funny or it works, then you do it. You do it. I don't like being tied down to it. It sounds silly, but once we start shooting, I don't even have a script anymore. The actors know their lines. I know the shots I want. There's a script supervisor. If they blow it, I don't even stand. But and I think that's the case with I think if you're a director and you've done your planning, by the time you get to the floor, you don't need the script.
You get a natural feel.
Yeah, you get a feel. I trusted them to know their lines. I know they rehearse together on their own. Look, at this level of film, everybody has jobs, they have lives. You can't, but I trusted them to rehearse on their own. We had a day of rehearsal together. But I don't like to rehearse too much either. Leave room to improvise and, be in the moment.
Yeah, there was a good moment during that intervention scene that made me laugh and sit in the back row laughing. Because one of the guy is storming out.
Yeah,
and he's like, I've had it with this intervention, and it pans back to the 4 people sitting there, and the lady on the end is trying to show pictures on her cell phone to the lady next to her.
Yeah, that was
completely checked out. Like,
I'll take credit for that one. We have this older woman, presumably the grandmother, and she's the one, not the other one. She's the one on the phone. I said, let's give the phone and the texting thing to the oldest person here. So, which made it a lot funnier.
For sure.
Yeah. So thank you. That worked nice. That was,
her heart wasn't in the intervention at all.
Huh?
Her heart wasn't in the intervention.
No. Yeah. She's shown her daughter, presumably his mother pictures and all that.
Some dog pictures or something.
She had no interest. So that was a fun shoot.
I haven't seen it yet, but now you've got me really wanting to go see it.
I hope you like it after all this. Yeah. I hope it doesn't stink.
What's next?
Well, I have a film in the can that's being edited right now. It's called Loosely Based, and it's based on the guy named Lou. So the title was definitely the easiest part to come up with, and it's another good story.
We like good stories.
It's a positive story. I'm not sure the final product is going to be what we set out to make.
But some stories have a life of their own, don't they?
Yeah, and this hopefully has a life of its own, because it's funny. We talked at the seminar today. And don't work with friends, but work with people you can get along with. And this particular film, I had to use a cinematographer that I really didn't know, and it affected things. I didn't like him that much as a person, and maybe that's me being an ass. I don't know, but little things add up. Like when we shot in an Airbnb. Huge 3-story house that we rented for the weekend, so we could stay there. We had rooms to stay in, blah blah blah. So I come down and I'm a stickler for time. To me, on time is late, and
yes. That's the filmmaker's Bible.
If
right?
We're supposed to start at 9, you should be there at 5 to 9, ready. Anyway, so I come downstairs. I said, he'll rename me. I said, come on, let's go look at the first shot. I'll be with you in a minute. And he just sat there and finished his coffee for 10 minutes, and the story he was telling the person, that doesn't fly with me. Nobody likes to have fun on a set more than me, believe me. And I did this with television. I worked in television for 40 years, traveled, but when the time came to work, you work. And you're not late.
Time is money.
Time is money. And
or missed opportunities.
And he was just a little too full of himself. And so the point being is, like we talked about at the seminars, you have to surround yourself with good people, but good people you can work with. And it affected the film. So it's more, this will be the first film where I'm really putting it in the hands of the editor. And it's like, here it is, and let me see it when you're done, then we'll figure out where we need to go from there. But anyway, Lou's story is quickly, and I told this morning, so I'll be brief, but my background's television. I was a cameraman and then part-time director at NBC for 40 years. I've directed for ESPN. I've directed concerts. So sports, I was a sports cameraman at NBC for 20 years before I directed sports. I knew music. I've directed concerts all over the country. So that came from a place of knowledge, music. When I retired, I wanted to make films. I wanted to tell stories. And I felt I should get to know acting. Even though I worked on soap operas and Saturday Night Live, I figured I better learn something about acting. So I went to acting school.
Directors need to know a little bit about everything.
Exactly. You have to know every job. You don't have to be an expert, but you have to have a place of knowledge. You surround yourself with experts.
Yes.
But have a place of knowledge. You should have a knowledge. If you're going to be the boss and tell people what to do, you have to at least have a knowledge of what they're doing. So Lou is on the spectrum. He's in the acting class. And the teacher is a good guy and kind of tolerates him. He's on the spectrum, fairly functional. And he saw Blueberries, and he came to me a couple months later and handed me a script that he wrote. He said, "Will you read the script?" I said, "Absolutely." Well, the script was not a script. It was a narrative. It was written longhand. Well, I mean, he typed it, but I walked in the door of the house. I went down, I made a left-hand turn. I walked down the hallway, made another left-hand turn. Long story short, we moved the story forward, and the movie's about that he tries his hand at acting. He's failing miserably. His father wants him to work and to give it up and work in the family. Turns out he's a writer, and he writes a great movie, and that's how it ends. So that's the genesis of that movie. Whether it turns out, not sure what the final product's going to look at. Anyway, that answers your question. And I'm also working on a documentary right now, my first documentary.
Oh, so let's talk more. For those of you in our audience, this interview with Eric Eisenstein and the film Blueberries, which is playing at the Wild Rivers Film Festival 2025.
And available on YouTube.
Yes, and available on YouTube. Great. If you'd like to find out more about the festival, buy passes, volunteer, or explore sponsorship opportunities, you can visit wildriversfilmfestival.com or follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
And come here next year. It's a great event.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, and come next year.
Come next year.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
We appreciate you making it all this way, and
especially your first trip to the the Oregon coast.
Yeah, I'm actually flying out of Portland Tuesday night. I'm taking the red eye, so I'm going to drive up the coast Monday and Tuesday.
Okay. Well, it's a beautiful drive.
That's what I hear.
Okay. Our recording's by Michael Gorse. Our sound mixing's by Tom Bozak. I'm the producer, Sue Wright. And until next time, and Ozzy.
And I'm here helping.
Can't forget Ozzy.
Thank you.
Ozzy Pops. And until next time, we'll see you at the movies.